Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Hey friends, welcome back to the Language Tutor Spanish series. I'm Danny Evans, your profesor de español. I'm so glad you're hanging out with me on this lesson because we have a pretty cool lesson for you today. It's kind of short, but I believe it's really helpful. And as many of our recent videos, this idea was suggested by one of our friends on the Language Tutor Spanish Facebook page. A great place to join a community of Spanish learners and Spanish speakers and bounce ideas, bounce off questions. And so a while back, I said, hey, I'm getting ready to film and I want to know what ideas you guys have or things I can film to help you out. This was one of them. One of our friends said, I'd love to see an episode about changing parts of speech in Spanish. So when I say changing parts of speech, I mean turning verbs into nouns or adjectives into adverbs, things like that. And that's really what we're going to focus on today. First, we're going to talk about how to turn verbs into nouns, and then we will jump into a very short and easy explanation of turning adjectives into adverbs. All right, so here we go. Hope you have your cuaderno with you and your lápiz, maybe a pluma. Take a few notes. Vamos a tomar apuntes. All right. Now, let's start verbs, turning verbs into nouns. Okay. Now, I wish there was you know how this goes, right, guys? You've heard me say many times. I wish there was a really cool, firm rule that we could just apply and it works every single time, but you know that's not going to work in pretty much any language. You're going to have the rule followers and ones that just do their own little things. So that's the same way today in this lesson. But let me start by giving you a nice rule of thumb for many of these in Spanish. One thing we can do is take a verb like this, trabajar, to work. Now, trabajar, we know that the conjugations are I work, yo trabajo, tú trabajas, there we go. Ella, él, usted trabaja, trabajamos. So we can just apply those AR verb endings as we've always done, all right? What we can do if we want to take to work and turn it into a noun, work, then we can simply take off the AR, just as we've always done. And one thing we can do with a lot of words is just simply put an O on it, just like that, okay? So you're looking at this word, trabajo, and you think, yeah, it's like I work. Yes, it is. But we can put an article in front of it, a definite article, and you say, el trabajo. Now we took it from saying to work into the work ahead of us. It's the work we have to do. All right, so we changed it into a noun, simply took away that AR, put an O on it. Let's look at another example just like that. The verb cambiar, to change. Okay, so we can take off the AR, there it goes, and we can put an O on it, and now we can put our article on it, and we have el cambio, the change. Okay, so now it's a noun. So we took it from to change to the change. All right, let's look at a couple more. Estudiar, to study, and once again, you're probably already saying this in your head. You're figuring this out already because you're inteligente. I know that. Take off the AR, put an O on it, and now we simply put the article on it. And we have el estudio, the study. Now it's a noun, the study. Yeah, okay. Let's do a couple more. Still, we got a couple examples we can look at. Votar, you know what this means, to vote. Votar. All we got to do, take off the AR, put an O on it, and now we simply put el in front of it, and we get el voto, the vote. All right. Is to vote, the vote. All right, and it's important. Okay, so let's look at another one that follows this. Cantar, to sing. Take off the AR, and I put the O on it, and now I'll put the article, and we get el canto, Now, you might be thinking, oh, wait, that's the song. Sort of, but it's more like the act of singing. And when you're talking about we're going to sing a song, that's la canción typically. But el canto is more the gift of song or the act of singing, right? It's a noun in that context. So it's not really like if you say, here is a song that we're going to sing. That's la canción typically. Okay, now, friends, I wish that I could say what I just told you. That's a universal rule, and we can apply it to every single AR verb. It doesn't work that way. We got those traviesos, those troublemakers out there, right? So there are some exceptions to the rule. I am going to give you some exceptions, but this is one of those things where you kind of pick these up as you go because they are so different from one to the next. You know, it's hit or miss on these. As you see these next examples, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, let's look at some exceptions to the rule. Here we go. Here's the verb ayudar, to help. Ayudar. Okay, now, in this case, I can take the AR off, but I'm going to put an A on it instead. See, he's not going to follow the rule. It's not going to be ayudo. It's going to be ayuda. And it's going to be feminine, so la ayuda. So now we went from to help to the help. Hey, I will accept the help. Yes, please. That would be la ayuda. Okay, so now it's a noun. Now let's look at the verb estar, to be, in a how you feel where you are kind of sense, that sort of temporary thing as some people call it. So in this case, we're going to use el as our definite article, but instead of saying, we can't say estoy by taking off the AR and putting it, because that would mean something different, estoy, but we're going to put dio on it, ADO. So we've got el estado. And this really implies like a state of being. Okay, so we're not really turning it into the yo form like we did on the ones at the beginning of the lesson. Now, saying el estoy, that doesn't make any sense. We're saying el estado, which means like a state of being. And it can also mean a state. Like I live in the state of Georgia personally. Okay, so that could be an estado. All right, now let's look at the verb sentir. Sentir means to feel. We know it can mean a couple different versions of feel something. Okay, and we know this is a stem changing verb. So we're actually going to not use the stem change form. We're going to use kind of this form and modify the ending. So sentir becomes el sentimiento. El sentimiento. And that implies the feeling, okay? All right, still got a couple more to give to you. The verb hablar, to speak. So in this case, this is going to be really different. This guy is a real troublemaker right here. So we've got hablar. We're going to go ahead and take off that AR like we did in the very beginning. We'll follow that part of the rule, but we're going to put an A on it. But it's not la, it's el. So this guy wants to be a troublemaker in every way possible. He's going to use el for an A verb. So a couple of different things you got to remember. Say el habla, and that implies speech. Okay, speech. All right, so that's one of those things you got to get in and learn it in context and practice it until it sounds right to you. All right, let's keep going a little bit. The verb ver, to see. We're going to use la vista. You guys have heard this word before. Hasta la vista, buena vista. So la vista implies vision or view. All right, so we're just totally changing the E to an I and going from there. Let's look at the verb decir. Decir means to say or to tell. All right, so we're going to kind of look at that past participle form. We're going to say el dicho, el dicho. So we go from to say to the saying as a noun. Okay, the saying. All right, now let's look at the verb perder, to lose. Here we're going to really change this up. We're going to put an accent on the first E. We're going to change the ending. So this is what we get. La pérdida. La pérdida. Yeah. All right. So put that accent on that first E and stress it as you say. And that really implies loss, the loss. Okay. Some kind of loss that you've dealt with. All right. Still got a few more here in the exception category. Preferir is the next one, to prefer. we're going to change this one up in this way, a little bit different than we've done with the other ones. La preferencia. La preferencia. And that's the preference. The preference. Okay? And the verb tener. Tener, we're going to change it to a noun form of la tenencia. La tenencia. Okay? And that implies a possession. Okay? Now, I think that's got you a really good start with changing verbs into nouns. Again, keep learning those on your own and keep looking up new ones because they are different. Some will follow the first rule we talked about. Some are going to be totally different. You'll see similarities, though. I promise you will see similarities between what you're going to add to this list and what you've seen. You're going to see similarities. All right, now, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about changing adjectives into adverbs. This is a short, easy part of the lesson today. Very simple. Here's how we do. First of all, you know that an adjective, it describes something, and adverbs describe, really, the best way to put it is how something is done. Here's an example in English. They are slow. We're describing them. I hate to sound mean about them, but they're just slow. Okay, they don't work very fastly or very quickly. All right, they're just slow. All right, so we can say that about them, and that's an adjective. But we can say they work slowly, and now that's an adverb. So it's describing how they do things. All right, so notice that the difference is the ly in English. That's really how we form the majority rule of how we form adverbs in English. So imagine that we have in Spanish something that just means the ly part. Well, we actually do, and it's this right here. Mente. Mente. When we put mente at the end of a word, it turns it into an adverb magically. It's pretty cool. And of course, I'm going to show you some examples. We got the word rápido. Rápido. Fast, quick, right? We can put mente on it. I'm going to change that O to an A. In this case, rápidamente. Quickly, rápidamente. All right, so we'll put that mente on there. Now we got ourselves an adverb. Very cool. Let's look at this word, perezoso. Perezoso, means lazy. Or to my friends down there in Costa Rica, pura vida. Costa Rica, they like to say perezoso, and they refer to what animal as a perezoso? Anybody know? You probably guessed it. It's a sloth. Yes, a sloth. So that's a really fun word down there. But a perezoso means lazy in general. They did something very lazily. Okay, perezosamente. Perezosamente. All right, let's look at a couple of more. Necesario means necessary. Necessarily would be necesariamente. It's a big word to try to say that 10 times really fast. Necesariamente. All right, let's look at one more, friends. Sincero, sincere. Now, some people use this word as nice also. Sincero. We're going to do something sincerely. Sinceramente. Sinceramente. And that, amigos, is how we change adjectives into adverbs. I hope this has been a nice, short, easy, helpful lesson for you. I really appreciate you hanging out with me, and thank you so much for all you that have subscribed and clicked that like button and left comments. It really helps us out, and we appreciate it so much. We really do. And hey, be sure to jump on and check out our Teespring shop. Man, every time you buy a coffee mug or a hoodie or a shirt, it really helps us out on our team, our Language Tutor team, and we so appreciate it. But hey, until I see you again, I wish for you paz y bendiciones, peace and blessings, amigos, and I'll see you soon. Hasta pronto. Friends, thanks for watching The Language Tutor. If you have a question for me, feel free to leave it in the comment section below the video. And please click subscribe and the notification bell so that you'll never miss any of our language lessons.